Hi, this is Carrie Brownstein.
This is DJ Premier.
This is Darren Aronofsky.
You got the RZA right here.
Rose McGowan.
Radiohead.
Aisha Tyler.
Tribe Called Quest. Fred Armisen.
Prince Paul.
Javier Munoz. Seth Meyers.
Frankie Cosmos.
Flying Lotus.
Hi, we're Chaim, and you're listening to the Talkhouse Podcast.
What's up? What is up? I'm your host, Elia Einhorn. Welcome back to the Talkhouse Podcast. This week, we are celebrating the brilliant weirdos of today's music. On Tuesday, we dropped a fantastic conversation between Tierra and Nnamdi Ogbonnaya. That was a special bonus episode recorded at last year's Pitchfork Music Festival. Today, we bring you Ishmael Butler, he of Shabazz Palaces, in conversation with Animal Collective's Avey Tare. Now, this is a true rarity for me. I get to welcome for the second time this week the one and only Talkhouse Associate Editor, Annie Felt. Welcome back, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm really stoked about this talk. These two are big fans of each other's music, and they're both currently working on really cool projects outside of their main projects.
Totally. Now, Animal Collective and Shabazz Palaces have remixed tracks for each other, so I knew that they enjoyed each other's music, but until this talk, Annie, I didn't realize just how deep the influence went on both sides. Annie, tell us about Avey Tare.
Okay, well, Avey Tare is an experimental pop artist and a founding member of Animal Collective. His most recent solo album, Cows on Hourglass Pond, took an existential and optimistic look at domestic life, aging, and nostalgia. And back in March, we published a really stellar review of it by Nnamdi Larson of Prince Rama.
Animal Collective met when they were in high school in Baltimore, moved to New York City together for college, and since 2003, they've released almost a dozen studio LPs together, though the earliest ones weren't under the full band moniker. All of the Animal Collective members come up in this talk. Their names are, besides Avey Tare, whose name is David Portner, Panda Bear is Noah Lennox, Geologist is Brian Weitz, and Deacon is Josh Dibb.
Now, Avey is super prolific. In addition to his Animal Collective releases, he's also released a ton of albums under his own name, as well as an LP under Avey Tare's Slasher Flicks. Let's check out KC Yours from his most recent LP.
Flipped over like a train of consorts, dropped off at the robot bus stop. Casey's coming, can't you hear it like the crying wind? Up there, even the airplanes are turning in. Flipped over like a train of consorts, dropped off at the robot bus stop to blow you down. Fire in the air, it's the land down there, it'll blow you down.
Can always count on him to put out some really interesting stuff.
For sure, for sure. Another artist who will never bore you, always fascinating, always himself, is Ishmael Butler, a.k.a. Ish, a.k.a. the Palaceer of Shabazz Palaces, and FKA Butterfly of Digable Planets. Across his career, Ish has been one of hip-hop's most experimental voices. Ish is a rapper, songwriter, and musician out of Seattle. His groups Digable Planets and Shabazz have been extremely influential throughout hip-hop and beyond, and his work continues to incorporate an innovative variety of thematic and sonic influences. Every record sounds at least a little bit different, and let me tell you, Annie, we have gone from New York to outer space. The project Ish is on tour with right now is Knife Nights. That's a trio with him, Eric Blood, and OC Notes. Their record One Time Mirage came out last year. From that LP, let's check out Light Up Ahead, Time Mirage.
But it wasn't your face.
I thought I see you, but it wasn't your face. But it wasn't your face. But it wasn't your face. I thought I seen you, but it wasn't your face.
There's a lot more sonic overlap between these two than I would have ever expected.
Totally. Who knew before this conversation just how deep an influence Shabazz Palaces and Animal Collective have exerted on each other over the years? Amongst the many things that the guys talk about here is the fact that seeing Animal Collective actually got Ish back into making records after he decided he wasn't going to do it anymore.
They also talk about the process of creating Animal Collective and Shabazz Palaces tracks.
And we get to hear what both artists are vibing on right now, as well as thoughts on Playboi Carti,
and how Shabazz Palaces aims to, quote, elasticize minds with their live show.
I'm fucking ready to get my mind elasticized, man.
Oh, I'm so stoked.
Should we roll the tape?
Let's do it.
So what you working on now, man?
I've been writing over the last year, I guess. I just got back from tour. Are you on tour right now?
Yeah, I'm not with Shabazz. I'm with this other group called Knife Nights. So we're doing like a U.S. tour, yeah. So we out now. We in New York.
Oh, nice. How's that going?
Sweet, man. Everything's good.
So, yeah, I was on tour, too, just around the U.S., solo Avey Tare stuff, and I got back. But, yeah, we've just been talking amongst Animal Collective about new stuff we're working on. So I've been, I've just been trying to get that together.
Yeah, I saw Panda in Lisbon when we were out there. We DJ'd together for a little while.
Oh, nice. You DJ'd with Noah?
Yep.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was real sweet. Do you ever go out there and see him much?
Yeah, we did a Sung Tongs tour, like playing that stuff. And so I went out there. I had a show out there, actually, like a solo tour or show set. So it kind of worked out, but I stayed there just so we could practice that stuff.
Nice.
But I like it out there. Yeah, it's really nice.
It's pretty sweet. Did you do the Avey Tare in Seattle?
Yeah.
Damn, I must have been out of town.
Yeah, it was maybe like 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was gone. Damn. You know where it was? Crocodile? Numos?
Neumos. Yeah, Neumos.
Okay. Nice.
Played there a lot of times.
That's where I first saw you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this was probably, what album was it that had like Fields and stuff on it? Was it called Fields?
Fields, yeah.
I think it was around then.
Yeah, that was when we played there the most, probably around that record and Strawberry Jam.
Yep.
Definitely remember some epic shows there.
Oh, it was sick. It was sick, man. And I had never heard of you guys. I just went and I was with some girl, man, and you guys just murdered the situation, man. And I've been a fan ever since, man. It actually changed my whole outlook on making music at that point, because at that time I was not even thinking I would ever make any music for a commercial release again. But after I saw you guys, it gave me a little pep in my step, man. It was pretty
nice.
It was pretty profound for me, man. So
why were you feeling that way?
I was just my mom had died, and I was super depressed, and I was just I always felt like rapping was kind of something for younger people to do, and I was turning 34, 35 or something at the time. I don't remember,
right.
But I was just my mind state was just I'm out of the game, I can't do it no more, But that kind of helped me push me in another direction, and I started changing. I wasn't thinking about rap so much anymore, and just not really thinking about genre, but just making music off my instinct, and I started playing guitar and practicing all kind of different shit because of that show. It opened me up a lot, man. And then I think you guys had SP555s at that time too, or soon after that or something.
404 maybe around that time.
It was something like that, and I got hit to that. I went and copped one of those, and I was off on a new direction, man. So thanks a lot, man. And
nice
for the remix you did for I forget. I think it was a song we had called Cake or something. You guys killed that shit.
Yeah, I did that one,
bro. Nasty, bro. Nasty.
Thanks.
You're the Don, man. That's what's up, man. So I wanted to know where you guys from.
Kind of Baltimore County. Most of us. Brian grew up a little bit outside of Philadelphia, but and Josh was originally from California, but we kind of spent most of our younger years in Baltimore County, Baltimore City, visiting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I actually spent 3 years in Baltimore City. I think it would be North Baltimore, Pennsylvania Avenue, Landvale Street, Fremont Avenue.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
And I was there when they built the waterfront. And I had a job working down at the waterfront, when they were just finishing construction and stuff like that. So
nice.
I got a soft spot in my heart for B-More too.
You also were in New York for a little bit, right?
Yeah, in the Digable Planets era, I was there for 13, 14 years after I left college. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was how does your relationship to environment and music, back then, when I was younger, I was really into Blowout Comb, it was a big record for me, but then I I revisited it and got back into it when I was living in New York, and I was living in Brooklyn, and it kind of made sense to me because, you know, you talk about all those places, all, you know, that I'd go around in New York. So it kind of, I really attach it to that environment. And now, you know, it seems like your last few years of music, or you were saying, you know, you changed a lot, but I'm wondering like how environment with the newer stuff you've done, like with Shabazz and maybe what you're working on now, like, how has it changed, and how does that affect like what you're working on currently? Just because, you know, the older stuff seems so attached to New York to me. Yeah. But the newer stuff you do seems a little bit more like alien, spacey kind of. It's harder to, you know, to put it in a direct place for me. So I'm just wondering how your environment where you're living, if Seattle affects that at all, or just.
Yeah, I think the age that I was at, living in New York, and then at that time in New York too, it was so culturally strong, you know, and then like we were out every day, going out every night, you know, like responsibilities of life hadn't really like dictated, you know, my activities as much as they did later on, you know, like my kids and you know, my mom and stuff getting sick and everything. So yeah, the environment was everything. It was just like almost like a musical diary to all the stuff that I was into and then what I was seeing. But again, like New York at that time was just so rich, man, with the stuff that was inspirational and that was really pushing along what I was thinking about and doing. But in Seattle, I was a little bit more cloistered and like holed up, reading a lot more, practicing by myself or just with my guys. And then the music was just like, I started thinking like, man, you know, it's all about instinct, you know, like playing free and like capturing moments and then like being satisfied with what you had captured and kind of leaving it at that, you know, like It was more like you said, it was more inner space rather than like literally documenting like the physical and social spaces that I was involved in, you know. So I think that's probably what it was for me, the difference between those places and me living there and what came out. Yeah.
Do you think it's kind of a little bit more like escapist or something like that?
Nah, I think it was more like a maturity, you know, and then like a groove, like getting into a certain groove. And then it was just like, I really started thinking like finding out about a lot more music because I was like kind of like a hip hop head. I wasn't against other music, but I was fully immersed in hip hop mostly. I would say maybe 95%. And then the rest was just kind of like old jazz records and soul and funk stuff, you know? So I hadn't gotten into rock or alternative or anything like that until after the Digable days. So that's why you can hear it's a lot different now. For people that know those two eras, for me, it does sound a lot different because my influence has changed hella.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, to me, kind of sounds more, not spur of the moment, but kind of more organic.
Yeah.
And do you think that's like, is there a lot of improvisation when you're making that stuff? Or do you have like a lot of concrete ideas?
Nah, it's like it's mostly improvisation. And then like once we like find something that has been improvised that is kind of tight or we think is tight, then we start to like sharpen it up, if you will, you know, but doing it the least amount as possible, you know, to kind of like.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we make things the same way, basically, I think.
Like I said, a lot of what I landed on was what I was able to ascertain from listening to, you know, not only you guys, but a lot of you guys. You know, like I realized like how the songs would sprawl and going to different places and morph and things fading in and out.
Right.
I was really into that as like the potential to like get, you know, deeper into and like extend the instinctive process. And that was really influential to me. If that's the way you guys do it, it was something that I picked up on and that was actually true. And it really moved me along a lot. I've always wondered too, like, it seems like you guys get together and jam and then like, or take ideas and expand and expound on them. How does that go? You know, I mean, without giving up the secret sauce, you know what I mean? I'm just like, what's going on? Because it sounds orchestral, but also kind of free form at the same time, you know?
Right. Well, I think it's definitely similar to what you're saying. It's kind of like there's a certain point where I feel like we start with certain ideas that are a little bit more improvisational maybe, or off the cuff, or there might be like a small idea or a melody that might be started by one of us, but then once there's a crucial moment, at least with when we call something that's like Animal Collective music or whatever, where we all play it together, that kind of brings that organic kind of orchestration feel to it, but keeps it, like when we first start working on it or jamming on it, it is more improvisational. So I think similar to the way you're saying you work, there's a certain point where we don't want to play it too many times, because then it kind of loses that magical space where it feels like it just came out of the ether.
No
you know
doubt.
what I mean?
Yeah. I always wondered, like, do you guys ever play the song? I don't know the title of it, but the hook, the refrain is like, "What would I want? Sky." I think, you know. Do you guys ever play that song?
Yeah, and when we toured for Centipede Hurts, that was part of the show. We played it a lot. Yeah, it's a tough one to play or get well live for us. It takes a lot of playing just because the rhythm is so wacky and the changes are so kind of spaced out. But yeah, that's one where I sort of just had this loop. It's a Grateful Dead loop. And
what's the Grateful Dead loop? Which part?
It's from a song called Unbroken Chain, which is on the Mars Hotel record. And it's actually, I just kind of, I didn't reverse part, but I took the end of one part of it and then kind of looped the beginning of it back on itself. So the loop from the song is actually a little weird. I think at the time I was inspired a lot by what Noah had been doing with loops and repetition. I think at that time that was just my version of writing a song that way, and I just listened to the loop for a really long time, over and over again in my apartment in New York.
What's a long time?
I mean, off and on, like for a half hour, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just trying to like come up with melodic parts over top of it, basically, and then just trying to mess around with pitching it, you know, so there could be some changes, because I feel like, you know, it becomes a challenge when you're working with repetitive things to have cool changes. But I feel like with you guys, I really like you. I feel like changes and sort of like repetitive choruses are really like strong part of like at least what you're doing with Shabazz. You know. Yeah. So I feel like kinship to the way you guys, you know, transition and have that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, man. A lot of that I sort of glean from you guys. I've often wondered, like, man, you guys' videos be sick too, man. Like, do people come to you with ideas and you kind of give them the green light? Is that, or you got a lot of friends that do shit too, huh?
We're comfortable with you know, working with people that feel closer to us, and just I feel like that it's easier for us to communicate with. Yeah. About ideas that we have and then changes and that kind of thing. Sometimes people come to us like really connected to certain sounds and songs, and I think that's really just like the crucial thing for me, to feel like somebody has like a connection to something that we've done, and you know feels like they're gonna put their heart or their soul into making something. Yeah, I agree. That's always based cool. On that. Yeah. When I saw you at the in Asheville, like you guys had a whole projection thing that went along with it. Yeah. That went along with it too. Yeah, our brother OC Notes, who's a dope musician, makes dope music too. He does the visuals on this program called Resolume. That's like, you can like, he's basically working it off of an Ableton Push, so he can like basically rock with us, in time with us, right, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. He's pretty dope at that. So yeah, that's how we do it now, for a little while at least. Are you like, is it crucial to be kind of transportive in the live performance? I hope so. To like, yeah, man. I mean, using the visuals as well. It's like, it's a big part for you. I think so. Like, we like to like, at its best, draw you in and make the mind sort of elasticized a little bit, you know, and like see and hear without any lines in between the two, and kind of take people away a little bit. So hopefully that's happening. Do you think about like who you're reaching or who you like? I mean, when you're playing live, but also when I feel like it's something like we get asked a lot, like when we're going into making stuff, like what we think about the outcome of it, where will it end up, that kind of thing. And I'm just wondering with you, especially, you know, coming from where whole part of your life, you know, seemed maybe a little bit more, I mean, mainstream is like an easy way to put it, but I just feel like having come from a space like that or a place of making music like that, now transitioning to what you're doing now, has it changed in terms of who you feel like you're sending stuff out to? And I don't know, do you think about that at all, really?
I think that, you know, the amount of time I've been involved in the music, making music and selling music and performing music, I just realized like you don't know who is gonna be at the other end. So I don't think about it that much or at all, really, you know, because I know for a fact myself, I've ended up at the fan end of stuff that I know the guys that made it never would have imagined I would have been there coming from where I came from, you know. And then I've met a lot of people that's at the other end of the music that I'm involved with that I couldn't have predicted that. So I just stopped even attempting to and been more happy with finding where the stuff lands, you know, and going wherever the music takes me rather than trying to like predetermine anything, because I think it's kind of futile.
Right.
Plus, musicianship-wise and writing-wise, I don't feel like I have the ability to like do that before it's done. Because like I said, I'm operating mostly off of instinct, so I kind of land where the music takes me, and then wherever the shows and the interviews and the stuff takes me, that's where I'm supposed to be, I feel like. But how you feel about it?
Yeah, I feel that way. I feel like we've definitely come to a place, or I've come to a place where it seems like more often than not, it's just sort of, I guess what I just think of as animal collective fans these days, or people that relate strongly to the music, and that's who it's going out there to. And yeah, I think similar to what you're saying, I don't think a lot about trying specifically to reach this person or that, you know, just maybe because of how long I've been doing it now too.
Yeah, you guys kind of made it so where like, you know, your fans, I know because I'm one of them, like we just expect to have our minds blown. We don't really have anything in mind, you know what I'm saying? So you guys don't really get pigeonholed, right? Like you can kind of do whatever you want sonically, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that way. I mean, it's certainly clear, you know, when I feel like people are going to vibe with certain things, or more people are going to vibe with certain things that we do other than others, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm aware of that, but I feel like in a certain sense, yeah, I mean, that's part of like what we want to do, is still be able to like even have our own minds blown kind of by what we're doing in a way, and just be really surprised. Yeah. And sometimes, I don't know, being at the other end of that, like, you know, or seeing what the other end of that is, it's like, yeah, maybe not as many people feel that way, but it's always kind of it's a little bit of an experiment, you know, every time. I like to try and keep it that way.
Yeah. I like it, man. I like it, man. What's your favorite pop music that's out now, that's located under that auspice, that genre, that title, man?
Of pop music?
Yeah.
It's tough, man. I don't listen to a lot of pop, hip hop. I haven't really listened to a lot of these days lately. So I've been trying to listen to more like the record Die Lit. Mm-hmm. Just because you know, my friends will get really, really into it. So I feel like that's probably pop music wise. It is definitely. I thought that was a dope record, man. Die Lit was sick. It's sounding good. Yeah. It's just stuff I've needed encouragement to listen to, just because I feel like I so easily get just the last couple of years just lost in making music. So you know, at a certain point, it's hard for me to have the listening space to check out everything. You know what I mean? For sure. But what about you? Well, I got 20-year-old kids, you know what I mean? So it's like stuff trickles my way that I listen to, and it perks up my ears when something is kind of fresh, you know what I mean? So I start to hear things here and there, but I like that Die Lit record. I like a lot of the new rap stuff, you know. I don't really listen to it on repeat or nothing, but when it comes my way, I can jam to it. I've been listening to like, I like Ariel Pink a lot. I like
Conan Moccasin a lot.
Nice.
And you hip to this Posey album?
What is it?
Posey, P-O-Z-I. These cats out of London.
No, I haven't heard it.
I've been listening to that a lot. That's pretty slick. Yeah. It's like, I guess you call it punk, post-punk or something like that. It's pretty dope. But always listening to just digging in the crates, listening to old records and shit like that, man.
There's a group, Sales, from Florida, I think. They put on a new one not too long ago, last year, and I saw them come through Asheville. And I guess in terms of something that's close to pop music, I like their stuff.
Sales.
It's mellower.
Okay. Nice, man. So you signing guys too, right? You signing groups as well?
We were for a while, but we stopped doing it just because we felt like we just couldn't devote the time to wanting, the artists to be able to do as well as we thought they should.
Right.
So, I don't know, we thought it was more kind of like an injustice to them that we couldn't like devote so much time because we just kind of wanted to do our own thing. But we did for a while when we were doing the Paw Tracks label, for sure. And I feel like even just by having people, I feel like now, I guess especially maybe I feel that way because of this tour. I just went on. I had some musicians, Lipsticism and Peridot, who haven't really had any releases out or done any touring, like open up for me. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing, like just wanting to kind of like pass the torch, and sort of like get people to hear stuff that they haven't heard,
Yeah.
And I don't know, equally just have musicians that I find inspiring, like be able to have the experiences that I had, touring and doing stuff.
Yeah, man. You got kids?
No.
Oh, okay.
Brian and Noah do. So especially like what you're saying about hearing pop music through your kids. Like I feel like that's their way too. So I feel like sometimes I hear stuff through them, but no, I don't.
You ever score any films?
Not really. No, Josh and Brian just did, I think, the first full-length feature that we've ever been involved in.
Wow.
But in terms of, like doing a full-on score, it's something I feel like we always talk about or would like to do, but a lot of times it just comes down to not having time, because if we're playing music together, we kind of just want to make a new record.
Yeah.
Then work on something else. But I feel like I would like to do something that's more visually split or visually involved, and kind of base things off that more. Have you done a score before?
No. I watch a lot of films, and I always pay close attention to it, and I think it would be fun and exciting, but I haven't done it yet. Have you ever made any films?
No. I would, often I think about horror movies and making one. But again, it's just for me, it's like, one, it's not like a natural thing for me just because I devote so much time to music. So I feel like there's a little bit of a hump like going into that world for me.
Yeah.
But also, it's just a matter of having the time to do it, because I feel like, a lot of open space I have just gets sucked up by making music that I want to make. But I watch a lot too. So I'm definitely inspired by a lot of, Morricone especially, like has been inspiring me a lot lately, just in terms of composition and production. We'll definitely watch like a lot of spaghetti westerns or something like that just to hear his soundtracks.
For sure. And what are your axes? Like what do you play the most?
These days, I don't know, it switches a lot. I feel like I went for a couple years there doing a lot of guitar stuff. I think maybe just because it was the easiest thing to carry around with me and just sort of have around, in my house or just in a room and take out and play. And I think I just got used to doing that. So the last couple things I've worked on, I've written mostly on guitar. But I really like the Electron Mono Machine.
What's that?
It's a sequencer. They also make the Octatrack, which is another like sequencer sampler that we use a lot.
Yeah.
But the Mono Machine is just oscillators, and I think it's like 8 tracks, and there's like 3 or 4 different oscillators or something like that, and different sounds you can choose from. It's, to me, a simpler form of that kind of thing, just because it's really hands-on and you can change a lot while you're playing live. And I think it's like good. It's a good hands-on thing to use live. So I think that's why I like it a lot.
So what, you plug a guitar into it and then, or whatever, you you go into in a line input and it does stuff to it, or it has its own?
No, there's no line input. It's all just oscillator based, or it's synth based. So there's just certain sounds in there, and there's a drum machine in there too. But I don't really use that much. I guess I just use it for like low end bass lines and sequencing lines. But I feel like that kind of writing for me, like if I'm writing music on that, it's just very different and maybe less fluid and free just because of the repetitive aspect of it, I guess, by nature, than say a guitar is. So I feel like a guitar and piano more lately because I got a new piano recently. So I played that since I was young. So I do a lot of writing and playing on that as well.
Nice.
What about you?
Well, I was in middle school and I played alto sax, but then when I got to high school, I stopped. And then it's in the last 10 years or so, I've been playing bass and drums and guitar and keyboards like as often as I can. I have all that stuff at the house, so I'm still really new to it all and really excited by it all. So I'm on all that stuff as much as I can. Yeah,
there are a lot of good melodic keyboard parts on your stuff. So I will wonder, like, is that collaborative, at least on Shabazz stuff? That's like the most recent, like...
The most of the recent stuff, I probably did it, yeah. There's a couple cats that I play with, though, like my boy Darius is a super crazy jazz pianist, and he plays some synth lines and stuff on there, but I work with a bunch of cats. But a lot of it is I just, like, I'll do most of it and then kind of take it to the studio with my bro Blood, who's an engineer, and mix it and kind of refine it from there. Sometimes add parts and stuff like that. But yeah, it's mostly stuff I worked on at the house.
Right. Yeah. You just go in and write the parts and then kind of build on it from being in the studio, basically.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of just a bass guitar too lately. I kind of played it a little bit when I was younger, but then just kind of put it away, didn't think about it that much. But just in terms of, adding into existing things, I've definitely been thinking a lot about bass and trying to play it a lot more these days.
Yeah, nice.
You do other production too?
Sure, yeah. Just songs for guys here and there.
Yeah.
But I haven't like done an album or anything for anyone yet.
Do you like it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Nice. Do you feel like you have like a stamp that you kind of like throw on? You know what I mean? Like, are you pretty involved when you do stuff like that, or is it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Most of it's taking place in the remix form, you know, and people have been cool because they'll just send me the stems, but they don't really, like, I can kind of do what I want, you know what I mean, and add or take away or whatever. So I basically rebuild the whole song, and I've done about 10 of those. So that's been cool, and I like doing that, you know. I'm glad to talk to you, man. Like I said, you guys have really influenced me a lot. Not only just the influence, but just made really beautiful music. Sounds good, feels good, makes you move and dance and think, and poetic lyrics and great visuals.
Thanks, man. Well, I definitely feel likewise. I definitely feel just in flow, and I don't know, a lot of things. I feel just like a musical kinship for sure. I know I've talked to Tende a lot about jamming, and I know we've done the remixes and stuff, but I would like to collaborate more somehow. Be cool.
Oh man, that'd be a dream come true for me, man. One day I'm sure we will get together and do our thing, man.
Yeah, I think
that's dope.
It would mesh well.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. But it's been a pleasure talking to you, man, and
man.
I hope to see you soon, brother.
Yeah, cross paths.
Tell all the brothers I said what's up. Give them my best, man, and
Oh, I will. I hope you're having a good time out there on the road.
Oh, the best time for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, brother. Thanks, A.
All right, man.
All right, my man.
Talk to you soonish.
All right, see you.
Ishmael Butler, Avey Tare, thank you so much for joining us here on the Talkhouse Podcast.
Listeners, if you enjoyed this talk, be sure to check out Nnamdi's review of Cows on Hourglass Pond.
Shouts.
And Ish's ex-bandmate from Digable Planets, Ladybug Mecca, in conversation with Senia Rubinos.
That was an awesome episode, too.
So good.
Annie, while I've got you, I want to give a shout to something that you did recently. You wrote your first review for Pitchfork.
I did.
Tell us about this.
Yeah, it was about the Autoclave compilation that Discord recently remastered, and it was actually awarded Best New Reissue.
Yeah, that 8.6 was huge, man. Nice one.
And you recently had a conversation come out on the Creative Independent, didn't you?
Yeah, as of the day that we're recording this, a conversation I had with one of my heroes, Crass's frontman, Steve Ignorant, just went up on the Creative Independent, which is one of my favorite websites. It was so fun to collaborate with them, and it was a cool project where you can read my questions and click a button to hear Steve's response. I mean, his voice, not just his voice in the bigger sense of what a voice is, but his literal voice is amazing.
It adds so much to the conversation.
It really
so
does.
good.
It really does. And I got to work with Mark, the producer, on that, as with this episode. Today's show was co-produced by Mark Yoshizumi. Ish was recorded by Dan Arnez in New York, and Avey Tare was recorded by Adam McDaniel at Drop of Sun Studios in Asheville.
Our beautiful theme music was composed and performed by The Range.
And I want to say before we go that we're recording today at Hook and Fade Studios, where just last Wednesday, again Wednesday as we're recording this, Stephen Merritt, the leader of the Magnetic Fields, and Daniel Handler, aka Lemony Snicket, joined us in conversation all about 69 love songs. Annie, this is going to be a fucking awesome episode coming very soon.
I can't wait to hear it.
Till next week, I'm Elia Einhorn.
I'm Annie Fowl.
Peace.
Bye.